we get started. I would like everybody who attend the workshop can follow along, and we can share some result in the end. If that's what I want to. So some of the here. So in here, I want to show you how to build image recognition models. And what I mean is, if we're gonna build this, we're gonna use this notebook, as you can see on the screen here. And this notebook gonna train on some images, and in the end, in the final part, it can recognize an image whether or not it is one of the categories that we're gonna pick the category in the beginning. We're gonna choose. Excuse me, somebody want to say something? Okay, so so that is the final result that you see over here. Let's see. So just to confirm that the link is working, I have the link on the chat box. One more time. Can everybody get access to the link?
Yes, I have the link working.
Okay, good. Thank you. So I would love for us to go on this together. If you have questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box. So first, we're gonna there are a few things here we need to prepare. First, I would prefer you to use Chrome web browser to build this model, and you want to copy this one into your Google Colab. So all you need to do is just click to File and save a copy in Drive. So if you do that, you're gonna have your own copy in your Google Drive, which you can modify, and you can do it however you want, with not affect the others. So you don't want to modify the notebook that I have right here, but you want to copy it to your Drive. I came a bit late, so I missed the link. Here's the link. Did you see the link? It looks like I have to admit the audience. Let's see if I'm missing anyone. Okay, so we're gonna need some images. So this model need images to learn from. So we're gonna get images from using Google search, and an extension here that I want you to download. So if you just click to this step 3 here, click to this, it's gonna lead you to the extension. This extension gonna help us to download images into your computer. So please go ahead and click to this extension here and install it. So I'm gonna give us about 1 or 2 minutes to do that for installation. And if you're done, feel free to put it to the chat box so I know your progress, and I can move on if I see many of us got done this step. And feel free to speak out if you run into any issue or any question. Feel free to speak out, or feel free to put it to the chat box. So hopefully in the end we can see a few different image recognition models from some of you. Okay, I'm gonna move forward with the steps. The next step is not really a steps, but it just we need to decide what kind of thing we want to classify. So some example could be dog or cat. So for now, I think it's easier. Just give it 2 categories. This code should work for as many categories as you want. But just for the demonstration and for simplicity, I would suggest pick any 2 of the object you want to classify. It could be dog or cat. In this particular one, I did 3 categories: tiger, lion, and cat. But I'm gonna do it again, so I'm gonna start with the new categories. So anybody have any suggestion for the categories here that we're gonna do? You could pick a different one. You don't have to follow with anybody else, because that should work for any categories you want. So anybody have any suggestion on the categories of images?
Trains, like locomotives.
Sorry, can anybody hear me okay?
Oh yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
How about locomotives, like trains?
Trains, okay, trains, okay, thank you. So I'm gonna pick trains, okay. And what was the second one? I need another category to classify with train and buses. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, so you got 2 categories, train and buses, and we're gonna try to classify. So let's go ahead and do that. We're gonna need you to open your Google Drive. So I'm gonna remove my data here. Let me start. I'm gonna remove everything. I'm gonna remove this, and I'm gonna remove this. So let me even remove the KME. So I'm gonna remove even this guy. So let's start from the very beginning. I'm gonna create a new. So please go ahead and open your Google Drive. If you don't know how to get it, you can just type in Google Drive. It should lead you to the Drive, and you just log in with your Google account. So in here I have another one I need to switch to. So let me change to a different one. Okay, so this is my Google Drive. I'm in my Google Drive. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new folder. I'm gonna call it KME. So this is where I'm gonna store my images. So KME is here. So within KME, I'm gonna need 2 folders. One is for training and one is for testing. The train is to store your images for training the model, and the test is where you store image to test the model. So I'm gonna put the first one is I'm gonna call it train. So to make it easier, if you just use the exact word like this, so with lowercase train, I think that would be easier. You don't have to change the code anything. If you change the word here, then you may have to change the code a little bit, but it should not be too bad. So for simplicity, just make it the lowercase train here, and I'm gonna create another one called test. All right, so I have folder. Now I'm gonna go to the train folder. I'm gonna create the first one called trains. Okay, trains. And then the other one is for buses. Yeah, so for one, I'm gonna use just bus, and I'm gonna train it to. I want to train it to. We name it to. So this you can feel free to train. it could be more than one train. So let's say trains. Yeah, that should work. And buses. Okay. All right. So I have my folder. Now I need to put images in here. So hopefully, but by this time you already have your extension download. So this step here need to be done so that you have the extension. As you can see here, that's the notation. I have the image I. Image I is what we need to download the images for our model. It would be very annoying if every time you download they ask a question. So make sure you turn off this before we download the images. So click here. And just follow along here. If you click to setting and download, search for download here. Make sure this one is off. So if you turn it on, then like this, every time you download an image, they're going to ask a question where you're going to save it. So make sure it's off like this. So this one is right now they will not ask any question for downloading. I think I'm gonna let me put all of this one into a new folder so that easier to see. Okay, all right. So my download folder now is just empty, so it's easier to see later on. Okay, so let's search for images. So we need trends. So this is hopefully I can get that is trend. Okay, so it looks good. So I have a lot of trend here. So you want just make it as simple as it can be. I'm gonna just use PNG only. So I don't need any other extension. I just need PNG. So I'm gonna search for trend PNG, and then later on we're just gonna keep PNG extension. Just to make it easier. So you have a bunch of image here. If you want, you feel free to scroll down to get more images. And then you click to this extension here to download all of these images. So I need all of these images to teach my model. So let's go ahead with that. Click here. So I have a few here. We don't need the few hundred. We just need I think about 50 to 100, so that should be enough, but we're gonna delete a few later on. But everybody, if you have question or if you want me to stop at some point or go back some point, feel free to do that. Please feel free to speak out or put it into the chat box. So we all can do this together. So next so now I need to select one of this one and download it, right? So I have 340 here that I'm gonna download. So download. Okay, so it's gonna take a while for downloading, and you will notice they're gonna have JPEG file, but later on we gonna remove those files. So, and sometimes it still pop up like this. So the extension that is not perfect. That is still ask question, but it should give us what we want in the end. All we need is about 50 to 100 good images for training.
I think I missed it. Where was once we download the extension, I think I've done that part. Where do we go to actually use it to download the images? So
just click here. This icon here.
Okay.
You see the icon here. Just click to the icon. Let me measure. If you click to the icon, you will have. So there's no image in this web page, so you don't see. But if you go to the Google here, if you click to the image over here, they're gonna load all the image here and then wait for it. Yes, and after that, you see you just select all and download. Click to download. So I already done the download. As you can see here, all the images is downloaded. So let's go here. So again, I save it to the download folder. So I'm gonna go in here and you see a bunch of images here. Remember, we don't want to keep anything other than PNG. So I'm gonna make sure that I have only PNG. So on my image here, I'm gonna save it by type. And if you scroll down, you will see a lot of PNG, more than enough. and everything else, I just don't need it. So I'm gonna remove this guy, this one here. Remove it. So now you can see I have 143 items of images. So I don't need all of this just to be. I just need about I would say I would take let's say 70 just to be in the middle of 50 and 100. 50 should works well, but just in case. And you see there's something like this. You don't want to use this for training because this is not really a train. So I'm probably gonna delete this. So okay, so I have my image now. I need to put it to my Google Drive. But before we do that, everybody good so far?
What about Sonla images, like the one that says Google or something like that on
Yeah,
there?
that one you don't want to keep that. So you are exactly right. So so I don't need this thing. I delete it. Maybe this one is also delete. So you want to give the high quality to teach your model. If you teach them with something is not proper, then they're not going to learn it well. But like I said, I'm not going to use all of this thing, so I don't need to. Okay, so let me go here. Let me go to my Google Drive and make sure it is in this side. This side. My drive is here. So look at that. I'm in my trends. So I need about 50 to 70. So pick. This depends on your internet. For me, I think I'm okay with about 70. I think that should. This is. I don't want to keep this one here. Now let me see. I got 84 now. I don't need 84. I need 70. Maybe about. So 70. Right now, you see I have 70 items here. I'm gonna use this 70. Even though this thing right here. Okay. I'm gonna choose this 70 images, and it's gonna upload it. So it's gonna take a while, but hopefully it's not too long. So make sure you have only PNG. If you have something that's not PNG, it may have some error in the code. Okay, so I complete my upload. So now in my training folder, I have this one done. Now I need to go to bus. So just do the same thing. I'm just gonna go to bus here. Let me go here. So I'm gonna search for bus and also PNG only. So this is my bus. So just do the same trick. Let me maximize this one. So scroll down a little bit to make sure you have have enough images to choose from. That should be plenty enough. And then I'm gonna click to once again this icon over here. Click to that. So you see you have a few hundred, but you just keep about 50. By the way, I'm going back to my trend here. This is the image I'm going to use for training. So I'm gonna remove this one here just because I don't want to reuse this for my testing. So I remove this. I'm gonna delete this. So I still have plenty of image here to choose for testing. So we're gonna do the test later on. Okay, so I have to do it again. So test here. Bus here. So I have image for bus. All right. So they give me a 365. I'm gonna download this 365. So once in a while, they're gonna ask for a question. This is I have no idea, but yeah, it's not you just escape that. So it's pretty annoying because we don't want them to ask question. So let's clear that. All right, I think it looks like I got all my images. Cancel. Okay, so I'm getting out that that loop because I believe I would have enough images for my bus. So this is what I have for bus, more than I need. Once again, you just want to keep PNG, so I'm gonna order them by type, and I'm just gonna keep PNG. So later on, if you want, you can include other type for more variety of that one. Okay, hopefully that's not gonna. Okay, so just ignore this one. I'm not gonna upload this one to my Google Drive. Okay, so you want to make sure again, something like this is not a bus, so you want to get rid of it. So delete it. So this is delete. So something that looks like a bus should be a bus. So this is not a bus. Maybe don't do this. Okay, so I think so now you see you have 135, more than enough. So I'm gonna be uploading this one into my Google Drive. So bus here. So again, I'm gonna use the same amount. So you don't want this to be more than different than the 70 images. You want the balance between the two categories. So I'm gonna just gonna pick 70. So you see here, I have 70 items. I'm gonna drag it to my thing over here. Okay, so let's wait for that. Let's pause here and make sure that anybody have any question, feel free to ask. Anybody, how everybody doing so far?
We're doing cat and dog pictures.
You do cat dog? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I think I haven't why do you have they asked me that I have to stop in my time is only have 10 minutes. What's going on? Remain meeting time is 10 minutes. Kevin, are you here?
Yes, I am. Give me 1 second and I can fix that.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm done uploading. I believe it should be done in 10 minutes, but just in case. So so now I got my images for my training. So here I'm gonna delete this one. So this is a one in my computer. I'm gonna delete it just to make sure that I don't use this for my test. So for my test data, I'm gonna use different images. I don't want to reuse that. So I delete that already, but I'm gonna pick a few here. So let's pick a few here for testing, whatever you want. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5 is enough. Okay, so I have 5 buses in my test. Let's pick another 5 for train. So pick any 5. Let's pick this guy, this guy, this guy. So maybe even this one. So let's see. I'm also very curious to see how well it's gonna perform. But so this is the images we're gonna test. We're gonna check and see. We're gonna see if the model can recognize which one is a bus, which one is a train. So is that difficult? This is a bus, a train. Is that a train? All right, so let's see. So I think that's it for the image preparation. I didn't change anything here, so I don't have to fix my path. But if you name your folder differently, you may want to change that. And if you name this one, maybe you capitalize the T, you would have to fix this path. For me, I keep the same name. I keep KME, I keep train, I keep that. So I should be all set to run the code. So to run the code, I'm gonna run all here. So runtime, run all. So let's see. I'm also excited to see that running. Okay. I think I'm gonna stop this one. I'm gonna fight the reset time just because there's some step I want you to see as well. So let me run it again. Run all. As the first step here, you need to authorize. So the first step here, you need to authorize the code to use your images. So you want to click here. Click to this one. It's gonna using the same Google account that you have for your images, and you want to allow it to use those photos images and copy here. Make sure you copy and you put it right here. Control V and hit enter. So you will authorize the code to use the images. So hopefully it's gonna run well with no error. So it's going to install some package, so just let it doing is it works. The only thing I'm worried is this part right here when you have some images that the code cannot recognize. So still install. Okay, let's see. I had a feeling that this going to be a challenge task, but I also excited to see how well the code works. So good news that there's no error. So all the images get in. 140 images belong to 2 classes. So at this point, it should. So yeah, it should work. Let's see. So okay. So here they're just gonna show a few images from the data, just to make sure that we are looking at the same images that you just upload. So it's take a little bit to show some of the images. Okay, so there's some of the images. So you see the train, the bus, train, bus. Okay, so these are the images I just upload out of the 140 images. And then it's gonna add a few variety of the images to make sure they have the model can see different angle of the images. And let's see the part when it's training. So this is done. So okay, it's training right now. And you can keep track of the accuracy here. So I can tell that this is not an easy task. So it get to 94%. So it's not an easy task, definitely. Usually about 17 report, I would get about 99%, but this is pretty challenging to recognize these 2 images. Okay, 93%. But keep in mind, this is only on the training, but it's give you a good idea of how good the model is. So 94%. let's see if you can get to 97, 98%, 94, 95. So it seems like it's getting a little bit better. 97. Okay, back to 94. So as you can see here, I cannot keep going because time is limited. But this epoch here is every time one epoch is the one time the model run through the entire data. So this number can be changed later on if you want to give model more time to learn. You can change the epoch here to a different number. So usually about 100 or 200 would be good, but as you can imagine, it's going to take some time to run through that. So, all right. So it seems like it's done. So let's see how well this model works. So I'm very curious. So let's see. So is that good? So this is a trend. So that's correct. This is a trend. Correct. Bus. Correct. Wow, so it's correct. It's perfectly correct. Some is not very confident. So you see, this is 88% is the trend. But this is also not very confident. It is a bus. 83%. But it looks like it doesn't miss anything, isn't it? So let me show the test data. This is the test data here. You see, this is test data that we put here. You see all of the test data here. And you also see it one more time here. So if you want, you can put more image here for testing. You're just gonna have the long list of image here and labels. So I'm done my presentation, but I'm curious to know how others doing. Did you get all the way to the end? Anyone get to the final prediction?
I was following along with you, so I have similar results, but I'm wondering what is typically an error if all 140 files don't transfer into two classes.
And if that gonna stop the whole thing, because that is the part where you import the data. So if you cannot import the data, then you cannot train the model. So this is that's why I just strictly use PNG. Technically, you can use PNG, JPEG, but JPEG has to be in the form of JPEG. You can also use GIF. You can also use PMP. That is a kind of extension that this code right here can take. I know that if you have an image in a different format, there may be a way to transfer. But for this code here, you can take four type of extension, and usually I just need to use PNG because that's give me plenty of image already for my model. So as you can see here, with just PNG, I have about 134 here. I mean, I use only 63. Yeah. So I already did a few, but this give me enough for my model to change. And if you have more categories, if you have say 10 categories, then you would need more data for the model to learn. So any question or any want to share your result, or did you get stuck somewhere, or? I can move forward. We can add more. We can add a few categories here if you want to. If you want, we can add the next one, say taxi or whatever category you want. But before that, let's see if anybody have any question or anybody have anything to share on it, concern, anything.
I'm just curious if you can say a little bit about what the algorithm is doing. What's the math behind the algorithm?
Okay, awesome. Yes, so we can do. So you can it probably surprise you because it just learn on where is that? It just learn on 140 images, right? Where's my 140? Yeah. Here you see the training data here. I have only 70 for each, and then it can be pretty good. It's very surprised, and in fact, it is surprising because it's not just only learn on this 140. So the model we use here come with some kind of knowledge already. So we don't train it. You don't train like a baby with not knowing anything about the war. You're training a very experienced model. You train a person that has some knowledge already. That person may not know what is a bus, what is the trends, but they know like the feature of the images. They look at the image, they can tell this is what color is that and what shape is that. So they have some knowledge about images. So what is the model that I use? So I did use a pre-trained model here. So this part I already talked about, but let's see. So here, this model here called Mobile Net V2. So this model is already been trained before, and this is trained by this is, if you want to look into this model, there's a full paper here. This model is already been trained on many thousand other images from somewhere. It doesn't know which one is which. It doesn't know the name of the object, but it knows the structure of the images. That when it have to learn a new thing, it's very quick. It's very quick to learn a new thing, as you can see here. So just to show you how complicated this one is, how like strong this model is, or the other way to say is how smart this person or this model is. So this is the model. Look at this model. This is have a lot of layers. So this is what is called a deep neural network. So this is a neural network, and it's very deep. And why is deep? Because it has so many layers. So this is layer 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layers, 4 layers, 5 layers, and you can see it has so many layers. It's so deep. This model is very complicated, and you see here that is the amount of parameters that it has in these models, which tell you how complicated it is. So to compare with, say, linear model. In linear model, with the same data, you would have about 140 images. Each image is let's say 160 and 160. So you would have, let's say 100. So we have 10,000, and you multiply by, say, 200 images. So you would have about 200,000 parameters if you just do linear model. But this one you have about 2 million. So so very with a lot of parameters. And what I did is, I add a few layers to this model. This is the existing layers models. I just add a few layers to learn new data. I'm gonna learn using a few layers here, and I add, as you can see here, I didn't add a lot. So this is the core model, and I add a few layers here. I have one layer here. This mobile net V2 is just the middle of my network, and as you can see, I didn't add a lot of parameters. Only the last layer have some parameter, but as you can see, I use this big guy over here. This is the big guy that know a lot, that learn a lot of, that have a lot of knowledge in image already. And I add a few things here, and then I train it. And you see, I train here, and I only train it like very quickly. You can think about it, if you give this image to a person like 30 times, or maybe very quickly, and you don't give the image for the person to study like for 2 months. You just give them to see the image very quickly, and then this is the same here. The models look at the image very quickly, and because of the very strong base model, it performed very well in the end here. So that is hopefully answers the question on the little bit of theory. So that did I answer the question well, or you still have a question on anything? So this model is a deep neural network model. And the technique here we use is called transfer learning. So if you interested, you can search for transfer learning. So I transfer the knowledge from this this guy over here, MobileNet V2. So here, this guy over here. I transfer the knowledge from this guy into my models. So any other question or anything? So I don't hear any questions. So maybe we can suggest another categories to challenge these models. Anybody need one to challenge this by a new categories of image? Like add one more categories here.
Cows and horses.
You like horses?
Yeah, I want to see if it can tell the difference between a cow and a horse.
So you want two more, right? You want a cow? So I'm gonna put here. So I'm gonna put a cow and a horse. Is that how I spell cow?
Yes.
Horses. Is that horses? I think I got it wrong. Horses.
I can't even.
Is that how you spell horses? Sorry. Sorry for my bad English. So, how do you spell horses? Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna add a cow and a horses into my model. So let's do that very quick. Hopefully we have enough time. So I'm gonna have cow PNG here. Let's get a few here. So we need 50 of those. So this 50. So let's wait for that. So by the way, do you know anyone know how much time you have left? Okay, select all.
We've got about 15 minutes before the next session.
15. Okay, I think that should be enough. Okay, I have a cow here downloading. Let's put it over here. Okay, the cow is downloading. Okay, so that's good. So let's put the cow here. I have the cow here. Let's make sure that we have only PNG. So PNG is in here. I'm just gonna delete this guy. It's not PNG. And let's say, I want to make sure I delete all the noise. This is not the cow. Okay, looks good to me. It's not a cow. It's Google. Okay, so I have good here. So let's go here. Oops. My train data is here. So I want some cow in here. Let's keep a 70 cow here. 70, perfect. So put it over here. Okay. So as you can see now, we have 4 categories of images. And usually if you have more categories, you would need more images for each category too. So that the model can learn it a little bit better. Just imagine you teach a kid, if you just give them like 10 images, maybe he or she doesn't recognize. But let me put it to test right now. So I'm gonna put a different test image. Let's put 5 of those. 5 cow to the test. Let's go to the train one more time. And we're gonna look for horses. Okay. So horses. Okay, looks good. Horses. Okay. So you want to scroll down to get a little bit few more. And I think that should be enough. Let's download it. Click here. And wait for it. Okay, so select all and download it. Then wait for it. So it's gonna be over here. It's gonna take this time. Oops. So it's annoying thing to pop up again, so I have to cancel it. Wait, at some point I'm gonna stop downloading because I just need 70 images. Okay, what's going on? Oh, I got my computer got freeze for a moment. Scary. Okay. Okay, I think it looks good. I have my horses in here. My train is over here. Let's go to horses. All right, so let's do our cleaning. Make sure we have PNG only. So get rid of all those things. And also make sure we have no noise here. So it looks good to me. And I don't need all of them. I just need 70. So 42. I don't need this Google. So I have 55. All right, let's do this. 42, 91, 63. Okay, I got 70 right here. And let's drag it over here. Okay, and I have a few left here. I want to save for my test. Okay, horse is coming up over here. Okay, so I got my, okay, that's it. I got my train data for all the category. Now I need, oops. I need my test. So let's click KME, go to test. So I need some horses in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How about this 5? Put over here and wait for it. So the good news is we don't have anything that have the same name. So so nobody gonna replace anybody's here. Okay, what is this thing? Uploading. Okay, I think I see something weird here. What is this? It's photo camera, great. It's not anything. So as you notice here, I have some of the image here that not belong to anybody. So I'm gonna remove this one just to give it a fair test for the models. Okay, so as you can see, it's a horse, but it's in a very I have so many horses here. Okay, did I give a lot of horses? So it seems like I put more than 5 horses in images. So it's gonna make it very difficult to look at in the end. These horses. Let me make sure that I have not too many horses. I have so many horses here testing. Oh, I think I know why. So I think I drag the whole thing here. Oops, so that could be a trouble. So how many images do we have here? So you should have we should have about, okay, too many horses here. So let me I have to fix this. Let's sort it by name. And let's make sure we don't have too many horses. It's not that we cannot test because when you show up, if you show too many images, everything just look tiny and we cannot see anything in the final result. 39 was out. Okay. All right. I think I'm gonna start running the model. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think when I drag it, I drag this whole thing here, so that's a mistake. I should not drag too many to testing. So when it's done, I'm gonna. If you have enough time, I'm gonna train my test data so that you have about 3 or 4 for each categories. Just because if you have too many images, it's everybody gonna look tiny here, and you cannot see which one is which when to show up the final result. So where are we now? Okay, so that's good news. All the images is reading good. So it's still showing the images. Here we have about. Okay, so you see cow here, some horses here, horse, cow, trade and basso. Okay, so you see this is a step when you just the model, I mean the code add a few angle of the images just to make the more flexible in learning. So let's see the part where we have the accuracy. Okay, so now it's take a little bit longer for HD pouch. So let's see if you can get to the 90-something%. So as you can see here, predicting 4 categories is going to be more difficult because you're going to have if you toss a coin, the chance that you get one correctly would be only 25% if you predict randomly, compared to if you have 2 categories, if you just do randomly, you may have 50% chance. 50 the accuracy should be around 50%. But if you toss a coin here, the accuracy should be about 25%. So this number is definitely stronger than the same 92% for 2 categories. But let's see. So far so good.
Son, just a heads up, the next session begins in about 4 minutes.
Okay, so while we're waiting for final result, anybody have any question? Or any comment, suggestion? So we just need to see the final result to see how good this model or how bad this model is. Because it's definitely more challenging than the previous task with 2 categories. Okay, so let's see, it's getting there. Okay, still around 90-something%, doesn't seem like pick up to 99 something. So it's still struggling with a few images. So it's not perfect, but I think considering the amount of training data we have, I will be happy with these numbers. Okay, getting there. Okay, the model is done, almost done. Almost done. Last epoch. Okay, it's done training. So let's see the results. Let's see. This is where you can say this is a bad model or this is a good models. So I did mess up with the test data because I put a few of the images here, but let's hopefully it show up. Okay, so let's see if you see anything that is wrong. So the text on top is a prediction. So anything is wrong. So the cow, that the cow, that the cow, that the cow, that the cow, with the bars. So look at the text on top of the image, that's the prediction. So I think it's perfect, right? Horse, 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 cow, 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 bus, 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 train, bus, train. Yeah, so I believe this is pretty good. And as you can see here, it's pretty good flexible model. And feel free to add more. Once you do it, you can add as many categories as you want. And that's it for me. Thank you so much for everybody to show up and watch the workshop. I appreciate your time, and hopefully you can implement this on your own.
Thank you very much, Son. All right, everyone, the session 2 of student presentations is about to begin. So if you want to go ahead and end this call, and you'll click on the same icons in any of the rooms in Sakoko to join that next session.
Bye, everybody.